Good afternoon, everyone. We're here to discuss the American literature and the people and its culture. United States of America. United States of America, also known as United States, America is named after Amerigo Vespucci, the Italian explorer who set forth the revolutionary concept that the lands that Christopher Columbus sailed to in 1492. Yan, yung Amerika daw ay pinangalan sa after nung Amerigo Biscopo, Bisposi. The US is the country of the 50 states convening a vast swath of North America with Alaska in the northwest and the Hawaii extending the nation's presence into the Pacific Ocean. It is part, it's, it is a federal presidential constitutional republic with three separate branches of government. US is ranked by area with 6.1 of world landmass. US are most famous with the stars and stripes from their flag. Yun, sikat daw yung Amerika sa hindi lang sa isang bansa kundi sa buong mundo gawa ng famous din yung kanilang flag gawa ng yun sa star stripes ng kanilang flag. Tapos yun, yung sa sikat din sa United States of America yung McDonald's na meron din dito sa Pilipinas. Tapos sa New York, Hollywood, and sikat din dito yung Disney and many more. Costume and tradition in America. People and culture. US have more than 332 million population from indigenous and immigrant people who are still counting until now. In every side of US, the culture has also been shaped by the culture and indigenous Americans, Latin Americans, Africans, and Asian. Yan, halo-halo daw yung mga tao dun sa Amerika. Katulad din naman dito sa Pilipinas, may mga taga-ibang lugar na dito naninirahan. According to the Golden Beacon USA, US is sometimes described as melting pot in which different cultures have contributed their own distinct flavor to American culture. Seven tradition that only American knows. Yan, parang katulad dito sa atin, meron tayong mga tradition na pang atin laang. E dito sa Amerika meron din. Driving everywhere. Americans live fast-paced lives. Big cities like New York and Los Angeles are especially fast-moving, and therefore most American people don't usually rely on public transportation. Yan. Yung parang doon sa Amerika, may kanya-kanya silang sasakyan, hindi sila sumasakay sa mga katulad dito na may train, yung mga jeep, yun, may sarili-sarili sa sasakyan. You'll find a few smaller town where people walk from, but the most part of American gets driving everywhere. Eating in a fast food and large portion. In America, cuisine was influenced by Europe, Europeans and Native American in its early history. Today, there are a number of foods that are commonly identified as American, such as hamburger, hot dogs, potato chips, macaroni, and cheese, and meatloaf. In our daily living, we all know advanced US than us. So, being busy and lively are part their
For the
lives,
projects.
and because of that, they usually go on fast food chain and make them as their kitchen every day. Yan. yung sa American, yung parang hindi na sila nagluluto ng pagkain nila, yung hindi katulad dito na bibili ka ng hilaw na ulam tapos lulutuin mo, bibili ka ng bigas tapos lulutuin mo. Doon rekta na, parang tamad sila na magluto, kaya nagpa-fast food na lang sila para madalian gawa ng yan, basta. Next mate. Number 3, celebrating the 4th day of June. Americans celebrate on July 14 from 1766 until now because of the Declaration of Independence granted of the United States freedom from British Empire. They celebrate it as federal holiday where many American flag display and with a dress in red, white, and blue and the honor color. Sa-celebrate din sila ng parang halos lahat naman nagsa-celebrate ng mga ganon. Parang dito sa Pilipinas, yung buwan ng wika, parang ganon. Tipping for services. In US, it is customary to tip for various services. This include tipping services in restaurant. The standard tipping rates range from 15 to 20% for most service relying heavily of their works to support the family of the receiver. Yan, tipping for services. Yan, mahilig din daw sila mag-tip ng mga kinakainan nila, halimbawa sa restaurant. Merong parang sa tingin natin parang pag magtitip, yung mga nagtitip lang yung mga mayayaman. Doon sa Amerika is yung parang common na sa kanila na magtitip sila palagi. Yan, pa-next me. Working way too many hours. Americans put in more hours than work in other countries. They also retire later and take fewer vacation. According to some survey, Americans work almost 25% more than Europeans, 137 hours more than Japanese, and 499 hours more than French workers. Yan. Not taking maternity leave. Among 41 nations, the United States is the only country that does not mandate paid leave for new parents. The closest option for working professional is to take time that allows for job security under the family and medical leave. President Trump has recently proposed a historic plan that would offer 6 weeks of paid maternity leave to new mother. Yon, yung hindi sila. Okay, next mo na. 7. Constantly striving to maintain a youthful appearance. United States has obsession with youthfulness. Women in particular are constantly surgery, seeking out of the latest age-defying beauty product and eating foods that contribute to graceful aging. Wrinkles and blonde hair are generally favorable in America, which way many popular American celebrities fall off grid after certain age. Yan. Uso sa Amerika yung pagpa-plastic surgery. Hindi gaya dito sa Pilipinas na parang issue palagi na kapag magpapa-retoke ka ganun. Pero doon sa Amerika, na yan, yung parang yun na yung kinakagista nila. Literature of America. The Native American period pre-1620. Major themes in American literature. American individualism, also known as self-made man, celebration of ambition and achievements, original colonies came religious freedom, late Later colonies come looking to make their fortune with opportunities not available in class-based European societies. Cultural diversity. A society that welcomes legal immigrants of diva- diverse backgrounds. The melting pot theory. Immigrants assimilate into our culture and become Americans. The salad bowl theory. Immigrants retain their separate identities while making up part of full adopt a hyphenated American name. The colonial the colonial period 1622 to 736. When colo- when colonies arrived in the new land, they created village and town to establish the new government while protesting the old ways in Europe. French, Sweden, Dutch, German, Scots, yung Scot, Irish, Spanish, American are mostly slave. Yan, yung mga nabanggit na bansa, yun daw yung panang pinaka alipin doon. Did not consider themselves American until middle 70s. Enormous, enormous displacement of Native American civilization. Next myth. And the religious influence emphasis on faith in one daily life. Predestination. A person's fate was determined by God. Original sin are all corrupt and need a savior. Puritan work ethic. Believe in hard work and simple livings. Curacy. Government ruled by Bible and church. The colonial period 1620 to 1750. Yun, meron silang types of writing and the writing style. Ang types of writing nila is sermons, diaries, personal narratives. Yung sermons is writing in utilitarian or a non-professional writer. Yung sa diaries, writing in instructive, personal narratives, Puritan plain style, or simple and direct. Revolutionary period 1750 to 1815. Revolutionary period 1750 to 1815. This happened during before and after the Revolutionary War. Writer focused on explaining and justifying the American Revolution. Writer, writer pondered what it really means to be an American. After the War of 1812, when last British troops were removed from North America, there was an creative focus on nationalism, patriotism, and American identity. Emphasis on reason as opposed to faith alone. The reaction to the Puritan way of life. Shift to a more print-based culture literacy seen as a sign of status. Then, instructive in values highly writing style highly political and patriotic. Wait, Patricia Mingoy.
Romanticism, 1800 to 1865. Ito yung period, ang Romanticism ay period ng invention, manifest destiny, abolition, abolition movement, and the birth of truly American literature. Growth of urban population in Northeast, growth of newspaper, lectures, and debates. Revolution in transportation and science, industrial revolution made always of doing things irrelevant. Dito din sa romanticism din ay yung reaction to the previous decades in which reason and rational thought dominated. Writers celebrated individualism, nature, imagination, creativity, emotions. Ang types of writing sa romanticism ay short stories, novels and poetry, interest in fantasy, and supernatural. Natural. Writing can be interpreted two ways, surface and depth. Good imagination over reason and intuition over fact. Kasama din sa romanticism yung transcendentalist. He believe that man's nature is inherently good, divine spark, or inner light. Man and society are perfectible called utopia. Stress individualism, self-reliance institution. Tapos yung mga authors nila ay nasumikat. Yung mga authors na sumikat sa kanila ay si Ralph Waldo Emerson. Siya ay isang essay at poetry. Si Henry David, magaling siya sa mga essay. Realism 1850 to 1900. The realistic period includes the Civil War, significant industrial inventions, and extensive westward expansion. Rejection of romantic view of life as too idealistic. Writers write about real-life issues and complex events of the time rather than idealized people or places. Sa realistic authors convey the reality of life. However, harsh characters reflect ordinary people in everyday life, determined yet flawed, struggling to overcome the difficulties of war, natural disaster, and human weaknesses. Good does not always triumph over evil. Nature is powerful force beyond man's control. Racism persisted beyond slavery. To 1940. Naturalism 1880 to 1940. Realism turned to naturalism when literary writers were exposed to the views of three scientific political works. First, Charles Darwin, biological determinism, Simon Freud, psychological determinism, and Karl Marx, socio-economic determinism. Ang ibig sabihin ng determinism, the belief that humans cannot be held morally responsible for their action due to circumstances beyond their control. Sa naturalism, nagpo-focus sila sa grim reality, observe characters like scientists observe love animals, view nature and the universe as indifferent, even hostile to man. Life is meaningless, fate equals to chance, characters are helpless victims, trapped by nature, the environment, or their own heritage. Modernism 1900 to 1950. Sa modernism, writers affected by World War I and II of communism, beginning of the Cold War, Roaring Twenties, the Great Depression of commercialism, increased population from immigration, lingering racial tensions, technological changes, fear of eroding traditions. Modern modern writers are known for themes of alienation and disconnectedness, frequently use of irony and understatement, experimentation with new literary techniques in fiction and poetry, creating a unique style, rise of ethnic female writer. Sa modernism pa rin yung si Harlem Renaissance, flourishing of American authors included music and arts have to. Tas yung mga sumikat na writers sa kanila ay sina Langston Hughes at Zora Neale Hurston at si Claude McKay. Postmodernism, 1950 to present. Global conflict, Korean War, Vietnam War, end of the Cold War, the rise of the terrorism, Gulf War, 9 to 11, Iraq War, War in Afghanistan. The digital revolution, social protest, the civil rights movement, the women's rights movement, the light rights movement, mass culture and consumerism, media saturation, rise of technology and space exploration. Electric, a collection of a little bit of everything, create traditional works without traditional structure, address social issues related to gender, race, youthful rebellion. Traditional values, often critical and ironic, no heroes and anti-heroes are common, detached, unemotional, individuals are isolated. Yun lamang. Thank you.